Hello again, friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Sundays Talking Town, where we're going to look back at yesterday's away game to West Ham, a game that finished West Ham 4, Ipswich Town 1, and the title of the show is Town Hammered by Hammers, and we're looking for you, as always, to get involved with us this afternoon. We can't do these shows without you. We wouldn't do these shows without you wonderful people at home, so please do get active, whether watching live. If you're joining us live, welcome to your Sunday afternoon. Leave a comment in our live chat, or you can join the show via a link, which will be appearing very shortly. If you're watching on catch-up, I hope you enjoyed your Sunday afternoon. Hope you're well. And FTA, comment for that algorithm. Rob Holmes kicks us off with afternoon all. I know it's not our ethos, but we really need to change the way we play away from home. We need to be more pragmatic. We're far too open at the moment. Is that opinion you agree with? Do you have similar thoughts? Get them all into our live chat, and we'll try and shape the conversation from what you want to talk about this afternoon. And don't forget, we are partnered with SolarWise Roofing and Building, offering more than just solar. They offer skills whenever you need them. So be wise this winter, be SolarWise. Get a free roof check from Shane at SolarWise. Call 01206 628 544 or visit solarwiseroofingandbuilding.co.uk for more information. Covering the whole of East Anglia. Get help when you need it and be wise this winter. Be sure to tell him that the Gov at Talking Town has sent you. STST, blame really needs to go onto McKenna for this one, says STST. I think he underestimated West Ham, should have treated it like the Brighton game. Agree, disagree, whatever your opinion, get it in. And joining me this afternoon is none other than Matthew Phillips. Matt, welcome in. Hopefully we'll start the show a bit better than Town started it yesterday afternoon. We'll kick things off straight away because it wasn't the greatest of starts. We conceded inside a minute. And did you know, right, that there's a high 60, 70% chance that when your team scores first, you go on to normally win the game in the Premier League? Did you know that?
I didn't know these stats. You're bringing out some stats here. I mean, it's a god-awful start, isn't it? I mean, one down after 49 seconds. In fact, we concede the first 3 goals are conceded at really bad times of the match, aren't they? Like you say, you kick off, you're one down with inside a minute. Then you just want to try and get to half time, don't you? As we saw with Villa last week at 2-1, and they score again in the 43rd, and then they score right after the break to make it 3-1. So look, what did Wes Burns describe it as? A bad day at the office.
It was a bad day at the office, really, wasn't it?
Well, I'd go beyond that. I'd say it was a shambolic day at the office, quite frankly. I mean, I was chatting to Crunch earlier. I don't see where Ipswich, we keep coming back to this. I don't see where Ipswich are going to get an away win from. I'm sorry if that upsets everybody. If you look at last season, the bottom 3, they won 6 games away between them all. So mean out the average, that's 2 games. I mean, Sheffield United won 1 game away from home last season, conceded about 300 goals, didn't they? That was against Luton. They actually picked up 6 points away from home last season, Sheffield United. And I think we'll do better than that. But everyone thought we'd get 3 points at Southampton. That didn't materialise. I said we looked like a relegation team in that game. We looked like a team relegated yesterday. I mean, look, the bonus is there's still a long way of the season to go. But I watched I wasn't obviously on the show Friday, but watched it. And some of the people need to tailor their expectations in going to some of these clubs. Like I said to you, we're not playing Walsall, playing another team that begins with W. It's called West Ham, who've lost at home to Villa, Man City, Chelsea. And played okay in some of those games, but not to the standard that the West Ham fans wanted. I should know, 99% of my family support the Hammers. So I'm in a bad space today. So I feel like, we're underestimating sides and we got an absolute shoeing. And I think the game yesterday was actually very similar to the Brighton game, but we just defended better. On another day, Brighton would have scored those 4 goals against us.
Certainly did defend well at Brighton. And it struck me the game a little bit very similar to the Leeds game last year, where it was almost, West Ham and Ipswich, our best versus your best. We ain't going to worry about defending. We're just going to see whose best is better on the day. And unfortunately, like at Ellen Road yesterday, everything West Ham touched turned to gold. Everything they did pulled off. And this is a team that isn't too far removed from those fantastic European nights we all sat and watched on a Thursday night only, 18 so months ago. They're a very good side, but you can't start the game the way we started the game, and going back to that stat, Matt, it's a very vitally important thing, that first goal in the Premier League. And it wasn't a great start or a great goal from our perspective. Phillips plays the ball short to Greaves. And from there, West Ham are away. Just talk us through what you saw from that goal. And also about Phillips, obviously the return to the London Stadium. How was his performance on that return?
Oh, I mean, it's clearly not a happy hunting ground for him, is it? Well, I said to you, Phillips won't let you down. He did let us down yesterday, sadly. I mean, it was a god-awful pass. I mean, he's trying to find Greaves, isn't he? He's barely connected with the ball.
Yeah.
Lies the difference, I suppose. Phillips, £45 million player. Who West Ham got on the flanks? That Mohamed Kudus. They got him from around about 40 million. Look at the impact their £40 million man had yesterday compared to their own. And it was chalk and cheese, wasn't it? But
it's a very bad pass, though, isn't it? Inside that first minute, it's woefully short at any minute of the game. Greaves is moving away because he's making the space. And we just didn't recover from that situation there, did we? We let him inside like we did time and time again throughout the course of the game.
You give them the space, don't you, down the flanks? I mean, to be honest with you, I feel like Greaves should have cleared that goal. Should have cleared the ball in from Bowen for the goal. He don't even stick out a foot. I mean, he gets back into position very well because he's been sold short. He's had to go in for the sliding tackle. I think falls to Souček in the centre circle. Then it comes out wide to Bowen, and then they attack our left side, don't they? But Burgess is Burgess.
That's a throwback.
Throwback to League One. Greaves actually gets himself into a very good position, but it goes through Phillips's legs and through Greaves and allows Antonio to score. And then that's worst case scenario, isn't it? You concede within a minute. And now you're looking for 2 goals for a team that is bottom of the XG in the Premier League stats. So, I mean, uphill battle already, isn't it?
Absolutely. But in terms of Phillips's return, I actually thought he recovered pretty well from that situation. He grew himself into the game. It wasn't the Phillips perhaps we've seen in recent weeks. And the return may have obviously played into that. As you say, it's not a happy hunting ground for him. He wants something to prove. But I actually thought overall, Phillips's performance, it wasn't the best we've seen of him, wasn't the worst you could have seen of him.
My West Ham supporting family thought he was crap. They said, he's not changed then from when he was.
That's that negative, though, isn't it? That's that negative thoughts already, though. You've already got those negative thoughts on the player coming in. And
absolutely, yeah. I mean, they've already got that conception of him, haven't they? I mean, McKenna made a good point, didn't he? That West Ham when they're attacking you, are very direct, which we've not really had too often, if at all, this season, which then exposes your midfield, which is why I suppose people on the shows yesterday and talking on forums today are saying, you've got to change that style of play, or maybe like Crunch said to me earlier, maybe bring 3 into midfield or whatever. But certainly Phillips looked slow yesterday. I mean, he's tracking back on Bowen for the 3rd goal just after the break.
Yeah,
he don't get anywhere.
He shows him inside again,
him, does he?
No, and he shows him inside again, which you shouldn't do with Jarrod Bowen. You surely watch enough game tape to know. This is not a player you allow.
Calvin was getting a horror show from his West Ham loan, I think. And he'll be happy not to go back to that stadium again this season, hopefully, for him.
Yeah.
For getting in the cup or something. But yeah, you're just getting overrun, aren't you? Like I say, that Kudus, he's immense. I mean, he's such a good player, isn't he? But you could point fingers at all the goals, quite frankly, can't you?
Well, we're going to go through it. But Town did get ourselves back in the game, right? Purely by Delap almost seemingly dragging us back into the game, right? So Delap mode was activated. Absolutely in love with that phrase, Delap mode.
You're liking this. You've got to put some merch together for this, don't you?
I am. I absolutely am. But it was activated at a Town corner with Delap showing his normal strength, directness, and unleashing what was a brilliant effort, Matt, at the West Ham keeper who couldn't keep it out. There was question marks through the game about should he have saved it? I didn't care at 1-1 and I don't care at 4-1 defeat. But it was a great finish from a player. Yeah, he got a hand to it, but that's all he could do.
Too strong, wasn't it? He was too strong. The shot was too strong and Delap was too strong for Paqueta, basically. Paqueta was like, as I think Tony Gale was saying on the commentary, Paqueta was all sides, all the wrong sides of Delap. He's able to brush him off. The bulldozer brushes him off, turns and just what my dad would have called an old-fashioned larrup. Keeper gets a hand to it. It's in the back of the net. I mean, look, whilst we're being negative about the side's performance yesterday, well, I am anyway.
Many are.
I'll give them 10 out of 10 for mindset to go back in front of, what is it, 60,000 crowd. You've gone one down within inside a minute, within just over 5 minute mark, you're back to 1-1. So it just shows you again the attitude that comes through. Whether or not attitude's going to be enough to get points on the board away from home moving forward this season, I'm not sure, against quality teams. But certainly in that passage of play, within that time frame of the first half, very good.
And it was from a set piece. So new set piece coach Hudson gets a green tick in his stat sheet this week.
Is that your first tick? Can you be wondering about
I think it is a first tick in his in the set piece coach, which is stat pad. But it was from a set piece, and it was from a player who is fast becoming, Matt, our best player, and the player that is dragging us back into the games, creating chances himself, which is obviously a question mark on itself. But he played 83 minutes yesterday. Before we get into the chance creation, and that involves the players behind him particularly, 83 minutes for me of really good centre forward play. Got his goal, created his chance, strong, and he's fast becoming Ipswich Town's best player.
He's our only goal threat, Martin. This is the problem we've been going back to. When I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I keep saying like we're toothless. I think in the second half yesterday, our XG was like 0.23. You can't be much worse than that if you're sitting in the dressing room, I don't think. But look, he's very unlucky with that header in the second half, isn't he? The ball comes over. I mean, I'm sure West Ham will be looking at him and thinking when Antonio moves on, possibly at the end of the season, he's a great replacement for him in that role for them. As they try and push on and try and get back into Europe again, I suppose. But where would we be without Delap? Bottom of the table, most likely. What is it? 6 goals scored. He's got 4 of them. So I mean, from our own point of view and his point of view, he's going on to score probably in excess of double figures. Got to keep him fit. But I mean, this comes back to the point. He's the only option.
Yeah. Well, he's the only option.
Right? I'm not expecting Ipswich to finish like some people think in like the top 8 or something, Dove.
Well, last week Phil said Europe.
Well.
And that was for me an outrageous comment last week, and obviously at the back of a 4-1 defeat, it feels even more outrageous.
Phil calls himself optimistic Phil, and I love the optimism. And why not be optimistic about your club? Why not be optimistic after you've been back-to-back promotions? And I want to be optimistic, but I'm also tailored by realism. And I just don't see. At the moment, we've scored 6 goals, 4 from Delap, 1 player. Once if he gets injured, we're going to be up shit straight because we didn't get another number. We couldn't get Brozier over the line, and that Ioannidis didn't want to come here. And then you've relied on Hurst. And newsflash, Hurst doesn't have the best injury record in the world. So, I mean, we're just very light in that position, I think. But that's going to be like that till January. So there's no point in me going on about it. But
no, exactly.
Delap in cotton wool, mate. That's what we've got to do.
Exactly my sentence you just stolen right out of my mouth. Literally Monday to Friday. No, we have got to wrap him up in cotton wool. But he scored 4. And I wonder if you look back at those goals he has got, at least 2 are chances he's created himself. Hit the post at Brighton. Created his own chance, and there's lots of comments coming in, and it feels only right, obviously, because the comments are coming in, and we always want to try and shape the conversations, what people are talking about with their friends on their social media apps, etc., to look at the 3 behind Delap and wonder, are you getting the best out of them? Are they in the positions they need to be in? And we've got some comments coming in. We've got such as this one here from STST. Hutchinson for STST needs dropping. The price tag's weighing heavy on him. Always starts Monarchs away from home as a number 10. We need grit and steel. Hudson's a liability at the moment. He's not the only person. We've got Colin Plum. Hudson's having a baddish time. He's young and will come good. Streaky. Amari looks lost and hesitant in the centre. We're not getting his best. So how does KM change that? Now, I wouldn't go as far as to say he needs dropping. But Amari in the 10, Matt, is it working? That's the question. Is it working?
Well, I mean, look, everyone looks bad in a 4-1.
Well, no, they do. That's true. That's true. Oh, he's frozen on me. He's frozen. I'll get a few comments while he gets himself back in. Eric Wee, Town were going for the win yesterday, but the early goal put us on the back foot. It's not our day for the win, unfortunately. Next home game is Hughes. Town needs to step up after the break. Charlie, one of our YouTube members, what concerns me is that West Ham didn't have to work very hard to put forward. That's very true, Charlie. They didn't have to work the hardest. They were chances they created that felt seemingly easy. I will go along with that. 80, amazed how the West Ham fans seem to have changed over the years. The Town fans sung them, apart from their irritating bubble song. I managed to walk around the stadium without any confrontation. That's a good thing, AD. We don't want confrontation. Welcome back, Matt.
I'm back. Dagenham Day's been on the call.
He certainly has. But look, the question was, is it working? But equally, I'll just elaborate a bit more on that, give you a bit more. It's a balance, right, between developing your own very highly talented player but also looking at the overall picture of production and balance to your team. And is it now time to sort of look at that 10 role and ask yourself the question, are you getting the best out of Amari? When do you hand the keys to that position to last season's championship top goal scorer in 9 million man Smodics? Do you move Amari to the right, bring Sammy in? It's a balance, right? And are we striking the balance and getting the best out of the players that you've got in those three?
Yeah, well, this was debated because I obviously gave you the team for Friday's show for you to debate with Ben, didn't you? And I had Amari on the right-hand side there. I just think he's better from cutting in. But the point I was going to make before the internet dropped out was that...
Well, you're rudely interrupted, yeah.
Yeah. Must be the Hutchinson family. But I mean, we said at the top at the summer, he's going to be reset again. Remember when he started with us in the championship? Raw young player. Look at the growth, the trajectory of his growth was amazing. I mean, he goes on and scores 10, 11 goals last season. He's reset again for us because, he's starting afresh in the Premier League. And like the guys say there, he's got £20 million tag on his shoulders now. And that will weigh heavy on your shoulders, I feel. When you're the manager, supporters, teammates are reliant on you to create, to score, to keep you in the division. He's playing a pivotal role. But I do agree with the fact that I think Smodic should be the 10. And I did put that in my team as well. I mean, I don't see why you'd keep the championship's top scorer from last season by some considerable margin on the bench and pay in excess of 9-10 million to bring him here. But then, some people have been saying they're not, I think, was it Ben actually? He's not been that impressed by Smodic, but I think
he's not had many chances in what was his position last year. No. And I'll just come back to this word balance, Matt, right? Amari last year on the right was explosive. He could take a full back one way and the other. He could go inside, he could go outside, put a ball in the box, cut inside, unleash a shot. You get more space on that wing. Look, where's Burns yesterday, bless him, had the freedom of the London Stadium. Not that we could find him, but you have that space in which to receive the ball, turn and make something happen. In that 10 role, it's a lot more congested. There's a lot more bodies around you. And for me, I'm really intrigued by what a three of Clark, Schmodics and Amari, like Charlie says here in the comment, could do. That really intrigues me as to how that balance behind the lap could operate. And I know that's leaving out Wes and that's leaving out Ogbene, but I'm just intrigued by it, Matt. And I just feel maybe Amari's, when we get space around Amari, we see the best of Amari. When we get bodies around Amari, it becomes a game of how strong are you, how physical are you, how sticky is your ball control, etc., etc.
Yeah, and you think back to games like Hull away last season where we actually had I think he was supposed to be on the left, but he was like, I think he probably had like a free roll, and he cuts in and he's got a great shot in him on Amari with either foot. And that's what you want to be seeing, really. I mean, the jury's still out for Wes for me. Like, he's been fantastic for us in his Ipswich career from League One through to the Championship. Is he a Premier League player? Not sure, to be honest with you. Well, let's judge him at the end of the season, really. Absolutely. But there's a question mark there at the moment. He'll give you all the endeavour, though. He's brilliant mindset, and he's been fantastic for us. Question mark over Benny, quite frankly. I mean, I've not seen anything from Benny that suggests he's any better than anything else we've done, and he's brought 8 million in, but he's still finding his feet as well. I mean, let's see if he can go. See, he's not a young player, is he, Benny? What is he, 27, 28? But I don't know. Out of the three that we're talking about here in the right side berth, Burns or Benny, Amari, I'd probably choose Amari over as the number one in that position.
And which of course would free up someone to come century. But then you've got to circle back the wagons, if you like, to the start of the conversation and what I said about you have got a very highly talented player in Amari Hutchinson who's going to be a fantastic player. Is it a case of just taking your lumps, taking your medicine and watching him grow in that position, watching him develop in that position? Because the player you see from now will not be the player you see in April. He'll be a better player as he was last in the Championship, where, when he came in, he looked really raw. He looked a player that could feature off the bench. And then as the season went, he grew into the player that we all absolutely madly fell in love with. So is it a case of just taking those lumps, taking that medicine as a fan? Because it is very early in the season. It's an infancy still this season. And it's too quick to say, I've not seen enough from X or Y or Z or B or A. It's far too early. We're outside the relegation zone. Yesterday was poor, but is it a case of just games like these will happen, Matt? And you've got to take your medicine as a town fan and move yourself on.
This is our second 4-1 defeat in the first 2 months of the season. And newsflash is probably going to be more when you go to, I don't know, Liverpool or Chelsea, whatever might happen. Yes, I mean, I think that these young players that are coming through and getting their first cut at the Premier League, they're going to be these bumps in the road, we call them, they're going to be a roller coaster ride, I feel. And you'll only get better, I think, by playing through it, which is the worry for Smodics, because if you're not playing, then you're only being used in dispatches, like he comes on for Clark yesterday and has a bit of a tame shot, doesn't he, that just went wide. I don't see where he's getting the game time in order to play himself into the Premier League, to play himself into the form that scores goals. It's asking a lot, I feel, for someone just to make the jump to the Premier League and then find his goal scoring shoes when you're hardly ever playing, or you're playing on the left-hand side of where you don't want to be playing, outside of, square peg round hole.
Yeah. We've got Matt Stannard. Welcome to the chat, Matt Stannard. Lovely to see your name in our chat. I've not been impressed by Amari. I don't think he's stepped up yet. Once farting on the ball, Burns offers you more physicality. Harps, away games, we should look to play a low block counter every time. Charlie, the late goal Amari's winning Rotherham last season on the right wing is the best example of his abilities on the right wing. We've got a question from Norman, which we'll come to in a second. Thanks for the question, Norman. STST, what about Clark on the left? Smokes of the 10, Delap on the right, and Hurst up front. I think we need more physicality, especially away from... I would never move Delap anywhere but central, Matt.
You can play there, can't you?
But STST had me there until I read Delap on the right.
He has played there. He played there for Hull in some days. But he's too good in the... He's too good in the 9. He's the only goal threat we've got in the 9. I mean, again, look, the same argument I'm saying about Smodics lands with Hurst. How's he expected to... Suddenly, if Delap was to get injured, to step in, he's not getting any real game time either, is he? So, I mean, he's down the pecking in the pecking order of 2. He's second.
Yeah.
Now he's got the pecking order of 3, but we wanted. But
this is a really bad analogy, right? But when I was a kid playing in a junior team, right? So about 12, we're a team. And my brother, who's 2 years younger, played with us because you could play 2 years above yourself, right?
Oh, okay.
We literally had an ethos. Just get the ball to Chris, because Chris could do what Delap does. He could turn, he could make chances himself. And you would literally just, if you're in a goal behind, I'd always say to Chrissy, I need a bit of magic here. And he'd do something with it. Delap's like that, right? At the moment, the message to every single Town player is find Delap, get the ball to the lap, and let him do what he does. So I wouldn't move him anywhere but the centre.
No. I totally agree with that. As we said at the top of the show, I just wish there was someone of a similar ilk that could support him. So, because he's 21. It feels like the whole weight of our expectation of staying up at the moment, it's all on his shoulders. Certainly the goal scoring is.
It is. It is. Yeah, it is. Just don't be pushing these shopping trolleys around, or anything like that. Just, click and collect your shopping, stay home, feet up. Don't lift anything too heavy, like 4 pints of milk or whatever. Just chill out. All right, just chill out. We definitely need you. Gonna drop a link right now to have your say. You are more than welcome. You don't need a webcam, just a microphone. Come on and have your say. Whatever you've heard so far, whatever you want to say, it's your show, it's your platform, it's your opinion. Matt, as we're halfway through, kinda, what are the people at home got to do?
You got to like and subscribe. They say on some YouTube channels, they say smash that like button. That's that Alex Griffin thing, isn't it? Smash that like button. Smash it for us.
Just take
Not
your thumb.
too hard. Don't break your device or your computer. I mean, be sensible.
We won't pay for any cracked screens. But obviously, we heard the news yesterday. Axel is out for a while. A hand injury. I want to believe he hurt his hand trying to go for his Guinness World Record at Hungry Hippos. I'm not quite sure that's true, but we'll run with it, right? With it. He needs to call stomach.
That career on ice, isn't it, for the time being?
It certainly has. But look, I'm not quite sure Freddie at Stowmarket Osteopaths could help him, but give him a call on 01449 613 633. Tell him the Govers sent you. Tell him I was just listening to Talking Town. I mentioned my hand injury and I needed to give you a call. But no, seriously, don't live life in pain. Give Freddie a call. Tell him the Government Talking Town sent you. Stowmarket Osteopaths, 01449 613 633. Let's come to that then. Axel out injured. Ben Johnson's performance yesterday coming for a lot of criticism from fans following the game yesterday, Matt. I actually don't think he was as terrible as some fans would tell you he was. That said, on that performance, he is an Axel Twenzarbi. And the back pass, Matt, to Muric is woefully bad. at any level of football for me. And as I said on my match reaction, sort of 2 minutes at TikTok, on YouTube, etc., the ball's come down with snow on it. And you're asking your goalkeeper, and despite their growing reputation in the game, Matt, and they are growing as ball players, goalkeepers, you're asking your goalkeeper to bring the ball down like he's Rodri in midfield. Like, how's your touch, Muric? It wasn't that bad. We did clear it. We didn't recover from it. We weren't quick enough when the ball got turned over. But it was an awful back pass. But I don't think his performance was as bad as people would tell you it was. But how did you see his performance?
Yeah, we did miss. I mean, Colin messaged me yesterday and said, well, we missed Twanzebe. And I agree with that. Look at the impact Twanzebe had on that Matoma at Brighton, where like Hertzler said, you know, Matoma's class winger and Twanzebe was just too good for him. And who was Ben Johnson up against yesterday? That Kudus, Mohamed Kudus. I mean, we need to come back to the second goal, don't we? We're on the third goal here.
I don't want to come back to the second goal. I don't want to believe any of the goals. I'm just trying to just sort of pick out what people at home are talking about, you know. Second goal,
So, I mean, again, look, Johnson's someone who's been playing second fiddle to Axel. Axel can't play. We then parachute Ben into the game, expect him to have a 10 out of 10 performance against a quality striker, like we said earlier, 40 million from Ajax. Superb winger. Great Viva foot. But what Ben Johnson was thinking on that back pass, I mean, bloody, I mean, there's only one keeper that could have trapped that ball, Hladky, as we saw.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't think any goalkeeper is trapping that ball.
It was just, I mean, it was, look, I like Johnson. I mean, he's functional, isn't he? I don't think he's going to give you anything spectacular, which is why I don't think too many West Ham fans were that bothered about him going, particularly. Would he have got into that team yesterday? Don't know. But yeah, what he was thinking there. I mean, talk about making it life difficult for your goalkeeper. I mean, take a touch and roll it back to him. And then, of course, like you say, the ball comes off Muric, does his best to try and control it, goes out to the edge of the box, doesn't it? Where Bowen gets it and runs into the. I mean, there was lots of question marks about Muric. People were saying to me, yes, they bring back Walton. I was getting some messages on. I mean, again, on that second goal, I mean, there was like, but I mean, before the second goal, you've got the play out, haven't you? Where he passes it straight to Moulsey with about the whole West Ham side around him, when the pass should have been Dara O'Shea to the right, and then Suchik has the shot and he clears, and O'Shea done well to clear it off the line. There was one where Kudus hits the post, I think, where Muric was in no man's land. I mean, he just seems to have, I don't know, his decision making seems to go up in the air. I don't know, I don't get it. And then on the flip side, he makes great saves.
I actually thought it was. I mean, if you take the two incidences, you know, away, the back pass touch and the pass, direct pass to Morsey, who's standing on the penalty spot, and because it's such a straight pass, it's really difficult for Morsey. But McKenna wants those. McKenna applauds those bravery. McKenna wants the goalkeepers.
Don't applaud the bravery when the ball's in the back of you now. I mean, I just find it ludicrous. I mean, but look, they could have made better decisions playing out from the back there. Like I say, O'Shea's the pass. You can actually see O'Shea on the TV screen. Give me the ball. You're playing away from the danger, but he plays it to Morsey, who's got about 3 Hammers players around him, and he tries to get it out to his. I'm trying to work it out to his right, and of course, just gets the goal. Right,
yeah. Pass selection, I agree, has got to be better from Muric. The pass selection, like that, for example, is an issue. But I actually thought, you know, in terms of goalkeeping yesterday, I actually thought it was pretty all right. You know, his handling was really sticky. Everything stuck to his gloves. His command of box was good. You know, he came for crosses when he needed to.
Other than the Kudus header one, it's the post. But
is he coming for that in a million years? I
don't know. He came for it. He came for it.
But should he be coming for it? Is the question. I don't know if he should be coming. That's what I mean.
Well, I mean, he should have scored that good. I don't think actually he gets a good connection. I think it's half head, half shoulder.
Yeah, it's off his shoulder. I think
solid connection with his head, and we'd have been sitting here going, "What the hell was Muric doing?" Like we were after the Manchester City game. But yeah, going back to the third goal. I mean, like you say, it all starts with the back pass. Architects of our own downfall because you haven't taken a touch and rolled it back, and you give it to Bowen went with the Euros squad, didn't he? In the summer, England into the box. Phillips too slow, easy finish.
Again, we show him inside. Max Fax without actually could be played through at the back. Bring Wolfie in, play wing backs. Johnson better in advanced role relief, does it ananyway. Streaky back off the side.
They did that a little bit yesterday. I mean, again, like we saw in the Villa game, Leaf got pushed up, and I suppose you've got no option really, haven't you? When you've gone one down after 60 seconds. So it felt like to me watching the game, it looked like at times there was 5 in that midfield a little bit, but I mean that's only happening with Leaf pushing up the left and trying to dovetail with Clark, which worked well, obviously, in the Villa game last week.
Yeah, Streaky back past the side. The rest wasn't so bad for a player with limited minutes. A hard ass to play back in the Premier League. That's regards to Johnson. Harps agrees with you. Lucky would have controlled it. a few keepy uppies and a volley of pinpoint past the Burns.
Yeah.
Charlie, yes, Johnson was responsible for the terrible back pass from Muric, but we put ourselves in those difficult situations by playing out the back and passing it sideways and backwards. Matt Stannard, Ben Johnson thinking we started Ladke in goal. I'm not sold on Muric, made a good save yesterday, but not an £8 million goalkeeper for Matt.
I get that. I do get that logic. But what's the alternative? Walton? He ain't going to give you the passing out that McKenna wants. I mean, you run, and that was the risk they ran, wasn't it, by letting Hladky go? Because it all comes back down to the Walton injury, doesn't it, against Luton in the pre-season last season, where Hladky is forced into being number one for the entire season. He played so well. In an ideal world, you bring Muric in and Hladky's your backup keeper in the Premier League. You probably would have taken that, but not when you've played 46 league games and got the team promoted. The dynamic changed, didn't it? Ideally, Hladky would be the backup to Muric or vice versa, or wherever it would work. Yeah.
I'm not sure that would have worked in reality. We're having Hladky with the romance of last year hanging over Muric.
Yeah.
It's bad enough fans have got, that romantic connection in the sense of, the misty-eyed look back. Oh, what a great couple of years with Walton hanging over Muric. I think if you had Hladky sitting behind Muric, I think the noise would be just 10 times louder. And that's not great for a goalkeeper. Who's already under pressure. I mean, come on. He ain't come into Man City's team, is he? Where he's sitting there having cups of tea for the course of 90 minutes. He's coming to a team. And like Ramsdale for Sheffield United, when he was there ahead of his move to Arsenal, I reckon coming into the season, he'll be a keeper who's faced most amount of shots in the Premier League. That's the reality. That's the toughness.
Again, it comes back down to expectation, isn't it? And the town fan base tailoring their expectation of Muric. You've already seen a taste of what was it? 7 games we've done now. I mean, mistakes in a few of those games, certainly the Man City ones were the highlights. He's going to make mistakes all through the season. But we said this when he signed, and Burnley fans said this to me when he signed. Good keeper, will make mistakes. And I think you've just got to expect him to make errors. Whilst he'll make very good saves, like he did against Brighton, like we saw yesterday in dispatches, he will give you the Man City mistakes. He will give you the in no man's land when the cross comes over and they hit the post. It's just going to happen. You're just going to have to roll with it. It ain't going to change.
Max Facts, Hladky, Muric, like comparing apples and oranges. Muric far better command of area, better shot stopper, and Vaz better with the distribution. Norman said I have more confidence in Muric than I did with Hladky. Rob Hyde, with a few chances we create this season, he's been more clinical. Greaves absolutely should have put us 2-1 up. So I said in my match reaction comments, it could have been a different. He should have hit the target at the very least.
There's the fine lines, mine, isn't it? That would have put us 2-1 up.
How
would have thought it? I mean, I said earlier, to go one down inside 60 seconds to suddenly be on level terms after 5 minutes, brilliant. I mean, could have been a very different game when you go 2-1 up. The crowd would have turned on West Ham with the 3 defeats they'd had previously. Would have been a very different. But Greaves should have scored that.
Would have been a 4-2 defeat, Matt. We ain't getting a second goal and shutting up shop. That's for one thing. STST, Muric doesn't command his area. He was indecisive yesterday, half running out to collect the ball, then running back, flapping at it, etc. He looks like a deer in headlights. Bit harsh, but that's STST's opinion. What's yours?
Who was the deer in headlights?
Muric was like a deer in headlights.
Deer in headlights. Again, I think if you look at the fourth goal, which is a simple... look, Bowen's taken the piss a little bit, isn't it? It's with the outside of his left foot. Plays the ball across the down box. We've got wall of blue shirts there. Again, I feel like Greaves should have blocked that. He didn't do it. Not that I want to dig out Jacob Greaves. I think he's been fantastic for us. But certainly, I think on the 2 crosses that come in from Bowen, the first and the fourth goal, he should have blocked them. You've got to be better at blocking the cross. And it gets right through. Well, I mean, he's in the perfect position to block it with his foot for both. But it is what it is. It is what it is.
And it feels like we were the Get Well game for West Ham. There've been question marks coming in. And a lot of times I spoke to James Jones, obviously, during the week. And of course, got the feeling it hadn't quite clicked for West Ham. And you look at their goals. It was, Susek was their top goal scorer, etc. It just felt like everything clicked for West Ham yesterday. And whether they say that into future games, who knows? But it felt like it just clicked at the right time. And we were their Get Well game. And we were the team that sadly had to contend with it. But I've got 2 more points before I bring in the fans. I've got the Fisherman looking at me. I can see him. Oh, hello, mate. Nice to see you. Hold
on a minute. Mike Brown told me he wasn't going to be on this show no more.
I love that. I love it.
Right,
I love it. Stay right there, Mike. Stay right there. Oh, look at my face.
No,
Look,
it's
I'm
good.
smiling. Proper smile.
I'm
I've
glad
got 2
he's here.
points. First of all, I want to pick up on this three-man midfield because Charlie says Morsey, Phillips, and Clayus in the midfield 3 for me. That would have helped yesterday. You mentioned you'd spoken to Rich, formerly of this parish, and similar conversation. For me, I'll put my 2 cents in, and then you can tell me where you're thinking with this 3-man midfield. I don't think the squad's been built for a 3-man midfield. I think if you have a 3-man midfield, you're leaving out too many wide players, too many players that are dangerous, that can, when they're on form, hurt the opposition. If you play a 3-man midfield, your bench is predominantly going to be full of wingers. Looking at it,
say, yeah. So who drops out of this? Who drops out of the team we've got at the moment then to accommodate? Well, Houston's injured anyway, is he not?
He is, but let's live in the fantasy world. He's back after the break, which we know McKenna said on Friday he should be. I don't see the balance of the balance of this squad. Matt has not been built for a 3-man midfield.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't see. Look, I do agree with people saying that we've got to change it up away from home, because at the moment we look. I was saying to Colin and Rich earlier. At the moment we look like a mid-table side at home, and away we look like a bottom of the table side. So somehow we've got to find some middle ground there. And the negativity that company got from Burnley fans last season, and as Henry Winter said on this show himself, was they didn't change the way they were playing until very late. And we don't want to fall into that, because then you're staring relegation down the barrel of the gun then, aren't you? We want to be able to give ourselves the biggest opportunity to finish 17th or higher. And at the moment, I don't see where we're going to get points away from home, which does suggest that you would need some kind of change. But that's up to the local media to ask McKenna what's the answer here. No one ever seems to answer that question. And what would a 3-man midfield give you over the 2? Not sure. Certainly, maybe have given you a little bit more protection against the direct style of West Ham yesterday. But then, if that formation change falls flat on its face against whoever it might be, everyone will say we'll go back to what we were doing. So you can never quite win, can you? Because formations are only good for so long until you lose or draw, or it doesn't work out, or it doesn't get the expectation that people wanted. And bring back the 2 and bring back the wingers and whatever it might be. I think McKenna was going to change formations. He would have probably have done it by now. But I would like to know what the answer is going to be, picking points up away from home, because that could be the Achilles heel that actually sees us finish in the bottom 3. Because at the home we look good, like we did Villa. Yeah, we looked good, didn't we? We got a better fight against Villa than what Bayern Munich did, I thought.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. Yeah, I just don't see how the balance of the squad's been built for. I mean, maybe the odd away game, absolutely, but a consistent 3-man midfield, I just don't see it. I don't want to move away from the principles that got us here particularly too much. Like you don't want to. It feels like we need to change formation. It just feels a little bit like my knees jerking. Like we lost 4-1, and we're sort of knee jerking into we must change how we approach things.
No, I get that. But with a 3-man midfield, then 3-man midfield, trying to say it properly. Well, how are you rolling the dice of that? Then what are you playing with 2 holding, with 1 further forward? I mean, is it a flat 3? What are people thinking? I'm not sure. I mean, certainly Morsey really is what we call CDM, isn't he? And Phillips most certainly is. So you'd maybe need someone who's a little bit more box to box, which Cahoos would probably give you that in that 3. But like you say, who then drops out? Now, maybe you could argue that maybe you're not getting the impact you want from the right-hand side, which is why we keep talking about should it be Burns, should it be Benny, is that where we can get the best out of Amari? I don't know, there's lots of questions there. I wish the local media would ask McKenna so we'd actually get an idea of what they want to do.
Does feel like we're one. I agree. Yeah, questions have to be asked. I just feel like we're one reaction away from saying can't play Davis away from him, need to play Townsend because our fullback crosses the halfway line too much. I just feel like we need to sort of rein him. Like yesterday's defeat was bad. It wasn't a great performance. But you don't want to go away too much from what got you to the party.
I don't think so. You need that identity in order to. It's a catch-22 a little bit, isn't it? You want the identity which we've got and we've all enjoyed, and when it's not working, people start questioning it. But then you don't want to fall into the Vincent Kompany scenario of changing it too late and thinking, I wish we'd done that 10 games ago. We could have stayed up. So I don't know. It's one for McKenna and his team to answer. I don't know what the answer is, but certainly something's got to change away from home. Otherwise, we're going to get relegated, I think.
All right, Fisherman's coming in literally 2 minutes. Finally, second international break. Town still that win, but still outside the bottom 3. What is your assessment of Town? 7 games in, 31 left to be played on the board. Give me one positive to draw on from the 7, and give me one area of concern. that looking longer term, the projection of longer term that really concerns you? So one positive and one really area of concern.
I think the atmosphere and the kind of the togetherness you see at Portman Road. We look at, like I say, we look a completely different team at Portman Road. As I asked any Aston Villa fan last week. You know, we look really strong there, and we've got 30,000 supporters behind us. We've got much more attacking threat. We can get much more onto the front foot. Delap seems to be thriving, as we saw against Villa last week at Portman Road. We seem to be thriving home and away, quite frankly. He's got the 4 of the 6 goals, hasn't he? I mean, yeah, Mike, I still wish we had that third number 9 in now to offer the support.
But we don't. I wish I was a millionaire sat on a beach, but I'm not.
You might be one day, Martin. Go buy the lot.
I'm a poor man sat in a third bedroom with washing drying over there. Like, we've got to tamper your expectations of life, right? We don't have a 9. We don't have a 9.
My worry for the future is the away form. I just don't see where we're going to be picking up the points in order to give ourselves a chance of finishing 17th or higher. I hope so. But I mean, look, let me not end this bit on a negative. I've always kind of thought to myself, it might take half a season for Ipswich actually to adjust and new signings to come in. And it may be after that January window, we can maybe go on a run. I mean, certainly the team that got relegated under Burley went on a bit of a run, didn't it? And should probably arguably have stayed up. Got to 12th at one point after we beat, Everton 2-1, was it, I think?
Yeah.
At Goodison, when we played against Gaz at that time. And then it just went into free fall, didn't it? Hopefully we can do the same again. But this time, stay in that mid-table. But it's going to have to change massively, I think, away from home. Massively.
All right, we've got right. I won't read all of Ryan's comment out because I mean, you've hurt my feelings with the last bit, Ryan. But 17th after 7 games, we take that surely. Grow up, you muppets.
We normally get called donuts. I mean, is Muppet worse than donut? I don't know.
Well, he put plastic Muppets, to be fair. But I mean, I don't know. Just Ryan. There was just no need. Was there? It's all right. I'll take it. Only react on what we've seen. We've got Harps. We have too many mistakes in our play, reduce the unforced errors and stay in the games for as long as possible, especially away from home, to give ourselves a chance. I agree with what Harps has said there, but equally say, and my counterpoint before I bring Fisherman in is, this is championship players doing championship defending, but they're championship players that are learning what they can get away with, the pace of the game, everything in the Premier League, and that we are shooting ourselves in the foot. It's naivety, it's the architecture of our own downfall. And those things, you hope, touch wood, can't continue over the course of the season. And as they learn, as they do these unforced errors, as Harp says there, they'll cut those out, and of course we'll turn things around. That's sort of my take on it. Sega said Portman Road is a positive. I think with each away game, Town have got worse. Fisherman, welcome in. Nice to see you. What are your thoughts?
Why are you here? You told me you weren't coming on anymore. It's great to see you.
Leave him alone.
What's going on?
Fisherman, talk to me, man. Talk to me.
I'll see you at the ground.
It's great to see you, Mike. It's lovely to see you. It's brilliant.
Excellent to see you. What's your thoughts?
Look, let's start with some positives. I thought Delap was again outstanding yesterday. I thought he was very good. His all-round game's really good. And look, I know Muric he's a bit of a Marmite goalkeeper at the moment, isn't there? Half the fan base love him, half the fan base worries about him. There's a mistake in Muric. I think it's just one of them keepers that you are going to get a mistake out of, or a lapsadaisical moment, but then he'll come up with some unbelievably good saves. And, I think he's a better keeper, the best keeper we have at the club at the moment, and probably had at the club. I mean, I know Halaki, was the keeper last year, but I think I think Muric is far better with his hands and, and as a shop stopper. But that's about as far as positive I can go after yesterday's debacle. We talk about championships players playing in the Premier League, but it wasn't O'Shea playing in the Premier League last season.
Yep, with Burnley. Yep, he was. Yep, fair point.
And how many goals did they leak?
Too many. They got relegated.
Yeah. So my other point is we got promoted obviously in 2000 to the Premier League, and that team that went up, most of that team started and continued to play most of that season with odd changes. Is it possible that we've made too many changes to this squad and not given those players that got us promoted enough chance themselves to show what they can do in this league? Because I like Greaves, don't get me wrong, but I've announced now third goal where I feel it's cost us a goal. Third time now it's cost us a goal. Villa, Southampton, and now yesterday. So is Burgess any worse than that? What has Wolfie done wrong to be dropped? Because I think Wolfie's a better defender than O'Shea that I've seen. As for young lad Johnson on the right there, look, he had a mare yesterday, but no different to Leif Davis did against Leeds last season. You know, he's gonna have hard games and hard times and stuff. And looks like I've got something on my chin. It's the sun. You know, I look like I've got goatee. A grown no. Goatee. No, goatee.
Chaplin as well, Mike. Not in the equation anymore, is he?
Yeah, well, the thing is, that's another thing. I mean, look, Chaplin can be a little bit sort of hit and miss, especially away from home. But home, obviously, he created a lot, and that comes on to the point of creativity. Look, I know people say 30 minutes. I reckon 20 minutes we looked good yesterday. The rest of the game we looked completely. There was times when it was like watching Sunday League football. You know, at the back when our passing. I mean, look, if you're a team playing Ipswich, you just say, right, lads, we all know what Morsey's going to do. Right, we'll just push on Morsey. I said, and our wing backs just push on them, and that's it. Where's their outlet? You know, because they don't play that what I call medium pass to one of the someone like Burns or someone like Clark. They don't do that play. Now, every other team does it in the Premier League, but we don't seem to do that. We've got to continue with this. Oh, let's pass out of the back because it's the informed way of playing these days, and it's costing us goals, costing us. Well, it's just making us look really embarrassing sometimes, and I think that it's great that we can be brave and stuff like that's great, right? But not when it's costing us a league or costing us goals.
Yeah.
Because if we continue this the rest of the season, we are dropping. There's no two ways about it. And the Delaps that are in our club and all the top players in our club are going to go. They're going to go to the teams that maybe get promoted from the Championship this end of this season, and we'll end up having to try and rebuild to get back out of the league again.
Agreed, yeah.
You know, and this is the thing, you see. Look, I know, yes, we'll probably get more money for the players that we've signed and stuff, and I get all that. Right, I mean, the Delap's probably doubled his wages, doubled his value now. But the reality is that our back two in Greaves and O'Shea haven't impressed me enough to see Wolford and Burgess be dropped. Johnson, I get that he's playing against West Ham. He's had a nervous game, and I think the space station up there is probably thinking, what the hell passed him on the way down. And
Chris Waddle pen from 1990.
I mean, no disrespect, but Muric is no Maradona. He ain't taking that out of the atmosphere onto his foot in the stop. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like Man City, it wasn't that West Ham were better than us. It was the fact that we were worse, and we did exactly as similar things to Man City. We just gave away goals where we don't need to. Yeah. These players, we know these players, especially the ones that have got back-to-back promotion. We know what they do. We know what they offer. And some of these players should have been given a chance in this league. And, you've got Amari, Hutchinson and Smodic. Why have we bought them? Because I'm struggling to understand why Smodic is playing that left-hand side when most of his career he's played as a number 10 or he can play further forward. Why have we bought Smodic only to have him on the bench and play on the left-hand side when Jack Clark's not there? And why is Amari Hutchinson trying to play a number 10, a 4'0", low-gravity player who caused so much damage on that right-hand side in the second half of last season, who's playing as that number 10 role, giving the ball away, losing the ball, can't hold it up? It doesn't make no sense to me whatsoever. And yet, we're not allowed to criticise Kieran McKenna for that because it's on him. And look, at the end of the day, he's got us back-to-back promotions and will always be remembered as a great manager for this club. But he's got to learn that this league is a different animal. You're not going up against cats. Are not going up against cats. Cats are going up against lions. And these Premier League teams, a lot of them have been in the Premier League for a while. They know what needs to be done to win. They know what needs to be done to get results.
Mm.
You know, so when we're making absolute, well, Keystone Cops decisions and brains left back in the changing room decisions and conceding goals, if we'd have got to half time, it would have been 1-1. I think it would have been a different game. But to concede that goal before half time killed us. And then in the second half, well, let's try and get out. And then what happens? Bang, 3-1, and that was it. Game over.
That was game
we
over.
were never
Yeah.
coming back from that.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike, lots of points there. And it's really great to have you back on the
I agree
platform.
with everything Mike has said.
It's crazy,
Totally
isn't it?
agree with you.
It's crazy. Mike, come back to us soon, man.
Yeah.
We've missed you.
Oh, right.
We've missed you.
I've been really busy, guys, and I just haven't had a lot of time. That's why, like I said, taking my brother to football when I can, and I'm working now, and all that's all shift patterns. I'm trying to look after my leg and stuff. So, look, the end of the day is we're in the Premier League. It's hard. It's hard watch, and we knew it wasn't going to be easy. But let's not give them goals. Let's make them work for every goal that we concede. You know, let's not give goals to these teams because we're better than that. You know, and let's start playing round pegs in round holes, not square pegs in round holes, because it's hurting us. Yeah. Anyway,
Mike,
love, lads.
Legend. Thanks ever so much. Really appreciate it. We'll jump back to Mike's comments in a moment. We'll also pick up Frank's comments. Frank's, welcome in. I want to hear you say the words. I'm sorry. I was wrong about the lap.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I was wrong about the lap. I was wrong about the lap.
There you go. How wrong you were. Talk to us about the lap, Frank, because you said you were worried about him. Has he answered those worries?
He has, but we can't rely on Delap to score all the goals. Let's be honest about it. So he's physically strong, as I've always suggested. That aspect of my argument still is maintained. But he's scored some stunning goals. Now, I was basing a lot of my theory on what he did with Hull City, but he was injured for a while. But he didn't score many goals for Hull City in the Championship. And I thought, why should we expect this kid to be a superhero? But he's turned out to be. So I have to eat, as I say, a lot of humble pie. But with regard to Muric, who was the other player that I gave a bit of stick to, I'm still not totally convinced. Matt made a good point. He said, would Hadladke have controlled that ridiculous ball back by Ben Johnson? Well, I think he might have done. I think if any keeper would have done, it would have been him. So I agree with Matt on that one. I'm not totally against Muric. He makes some good saves, but there's a mistake waiting to happen with him. It's a bit like Ramsdale, in my opinion. Although he's a big, tall goalkeeper. He's one of the tallest, if not the tallest in the Premiership. So we shouldn't really expect him not to, to not make, we would hope he would not make too many mistakes. But I think the timing of the goals were critical yesterday. We overlooked this. McKenna mentioned it. I mean, the first minute and then the 49th minute and the 44th minute and the 49th, they are the worst possible times to concede goals. And yet we did it 3 times at the worst possible time. So the question I would like to throw in, and it's something that we don't think too much about, we always talk about is somebody fit? Is somebody physically fit to play? But what about mental fitness? I mean, there could be any number of reasons why those players go out onto the fields with problems. It might be they had bad sleep, unruly neighbours, one of the children's playing up. They lost too much money on the horses. Who knows? But when they go onto a field, we just assume that they're going to be as good as they were last week. And there's mitigating circumstances for why they're not. And I have to say, yesterday, in my opinion, just running through the team, Ben Johnson was very, very poor. And so was Calvin Phillips to some extent. Not as bad, but they're both ex-West Ham players. And I think we assumed they're playing against West Ham. They've got something to prove. And neither of them passed the audition. And Wes Burns, I think, is ineffective without Connor Chaplin. I'd bring Connor Chaplin back into the number 10 role and put Amari Hutchinson out on the right. I think Jack Clark, he looks out of his depth at the moment, or he maybe a confidence thing. And Amari Hutchinson, as I say, he's playing in the wrong position. And I agree with just about everything Mike the Fisherman said. We don't always agree today, but everything he said, he nailed every aspect of our problems. Leif Davis, I think, of our defence played quite well yesterday. We've got a lot of international players now out on the international duty. 4 for Ireland, 2 for Wales. We have to hope some of them don't, or none of them get injured. But there's a lot of things to worry about here because of the way we played yesterday, and we badly missed Axel Twinsaby. Let's face it, he is the Rolls Royce of a defender, and if he's going to be out for a while, we've got to find a replacement. Bring Cam Burgess back, bring Luke Wolfenden back. He didn't do anything wrong. So I think there's many reasons why we should be guarded in our attitude towards what happened yesterday. A lot of mitigating circumstance, but I do accept that Liam Delap, I got it totally wrong. He'll do us proud. He's already probably worth now about double what he was, because goals in the Premiership are a premium, and he's going from strength to strength. But we can't just rely on him. Where are we going to get the goals from? And I think, as somebody else suggested, bring back some of the players. There was such momentum in League One and in the Championship, and we're not seeing it now. I'm afraid no poem, Eric. I didn't do one. I was so depressed after yesterday.
Never mind. Never mind.
I don't have the inspiration, but I think we all know that it was poetic license that, to a large extent, hammered us yesterday, because we were hammered by the hammers, weren't we? So that's my little quote on that.
Frank, to be fair, you did. I think, like, when Delap started scoring, you did say, "I think I might have got it wrong." So I mean, I think Martin's doing you a bit of a disservice here.
Yeah, he's revisited. His narrative. He's revisited an old.
Exactly, he does this. He's sneaky.
He wanted me to. Yeah, very clever, very clever. But I'm listening very intently to what you say as well, Martin. And if you make a mistake, I'm going to come back too. I guarantee.
I'll make many, Frank. I'll make many. It won't be long. Give it 5 minutes. There'll be another one in a second. Frank, great points as always. Thank you so much. And a lot of love in the chat for you. And I hope you're well. Look after yourself.
Yeah. Good to see you, Frank.
See you guys.
Really great points. I've got ST who says, love to hear Frank speaks a lot of sense. I think he says, I'm reading verbatim. I can't quite find the message, but he did put a lot of love for Frank. Oh, here he is. I love Frank. He knows his stuff. It's obviously not about the lap low. We have to wait. We all have to eat humble pie, and now and then Frank. But yeah, a lot of love for Frank in our chat. Really great to have him back on. Matt, before I get your thoughts on what our guests have said, what the town fans who clicked the link have said. Last one, Colin. Colin, welcoming you at the stadium yesterday. What are your thoughts on the Sunday afternoon?
Hello, Martin. Hello, Matt. A little, obviously a little bit disappointed yesterday. Well, more than a little bit disappointed yesterday, really. Firstly, I've got to say about, which a lot of people have skirted over, excuse me, in the chat today about the security there. It's absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I go at half time just to go to the toilet. Not to get a beer, to go to the toilet. Go along this, what can only be described as like a big long catwalk. Go along this bit, right, and then you go towards like the bars and the lavatories and that. I come back. Can I see your ticket, mate? Right. Yeah, but you checked that only about 10 minutes ago. Yes. Do you know my face? Right, okay, there's my ticket. I go 5 yards past this guy. Another bloke comes up to me. Just before I go down the steps to go down to where my seat was. See your ticket, mate? I said, I'm just showing it to the bloke 5 yards behind you. No, got to see your ticket, mate.
Wow.
I honestly, I mean, yeah, and
also, you lost the ticket, ain't you?
Also, another thing I like to say, Matt, I met the guy who comes in the chat, Streaky. Yeah, I met him yesterday. He's wanted to meet me for ages, and I've wanted to meet him for ages. And he was in his chair, and I went and had a lovely chat with him. He's a really, really lovely guy. I'm so pleased I met him, I think he thought the same, and that was lovely. Also met a couple of guys there. I met Joe and Mikey from Blue Monday there yesterday, which is nice. I don't think I've chatted to Mikey before. He's a nice guy. Works for the Premier League, I believe.
He does.
Fantastic. But like I say, as regards the game, I agree with what Frank said about what Mike said earlier on, the Fisherman. He did nail most of the stuff, There is a lot of players who, to a certain extent, I feel a little bit, obviously, a little bit sorry for Kieran, because obviously he had to bring the players in for us to be able to compete at this level. And the likes of Greaves and O'Shea and obviously Delap and the rest who've come in. You've got to say to yourself, I mean, they had to come in. I did agree. I can't remember who the lad was. Somebody in the chat said about, but thinking about it, perhaps maybe, and I do agree with that. But perhaps maybe one or two of these could have been given that little bit of extra rope, Martin, to see how they went. And Matt Stannard and quite a few other people have quite rightly said about, especially Wolfie. I don't know for the life of me what he's done wrong. But again, on Kieran's side of the coin, I do see it from his side where he's had to had to go with what he believes is to him his strongest side. But like I say, I can see it from both sides of the fence, with this. But of the players, obviously the players he signed, obviously the main one, Liam Delap. I've got to just give Liam a mention. I know Matt and obviously Martin, you both, and especially Martin, really love him, and I do as well. I mean, I think really Kieran pushed him a little bit too much yesterday. I think he could have come off about 10 minutes before he did. He was absolutely shattered yesterday, that lad. But I'll tell you what, for a lad of the size he is, I can't believe, the technique he's got. He's very, very good technically. He's robust. He's obviously very strong. He's got all the tools in the box, really. And I know, and I've got to say, I know he's only 21 years of age, but I can see that lad playing for England. Maybe he might not play for England loads of times, but I can see him getting capped maybe in 2 or 3 or 4 years' time. And everybody's mentioned, I think Matt did a minute ago, about and I think Mike and Frank did, about him doubling his price right now. I'll probably go more than that. I'd probably say he's, if we bought him for 15 to 18 million, whatever it was, I think possibly you could get 35 to 40 million for him now. I mean, he is an exceptionally very, very good player for a player, obviously, of his age. And the world, the world's his oyster, really, because I just think he's amazing. But Kieran got some time now. Obviously, he'll have players go away on this international duty.
Yeah, he will, yeah.
And he won't have so many to work with, but he'll have Wolfie and all them around. And I've got to say, I'm not saying that'll definitely happen, but I've got a funny feeling. I think Wolfie might be in that. I think Wolfie might be. I think he might be in that starting lineup against Everton. A funny feeling he might be. It would not surprise me. It would not surprise me at all. But another thing I'd just like to say, a player who's departed us, a Lackey. I cannot believe for the life of me. I mean, he's not getting a game at Burnley. We all watched the debacle what went on at Sunderland on Friday night, and how on earth. And I do click in sometimes to watch that Connor, as you know, on the Leeds channel. And he's been on about Melier for God knows how long, and how on earth they never went in for a lag kick. Because I must admit, I was very disappointed when a lag kick left. But I'm so surprised they never went in for him. because he's too good a goalkeeper not to be playing at all. You know, so I think they missed the trick there, don't you, boys?
But certainly that mistake that he made on against Sunderland makes Urich look like a real safe pair of hands, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Great mistake.
I mean, I've got to say, you know, we all think straight away about the Brian Gunn thing, but obviously that was to do with the pitch and whatever. But we've seen some howlers over the years, but that's got to be arguably
up there
in the top 3 I've probably ever seen. I think Shane Warne bowled it to him, I think.
I don't know. I said on Friday night, I don't even know what he's trying to do there. I don't even know how he's done it. It's crazy. If you're not seeing it, go and check it out. But Colin, great points as always. I'm really sorry about the ticket debacle at the London Stadium, but have a great Sunday afternoon.
See you, Colin.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Bye.
Some great contributions from Colin, Fisherman, and of course Frank. I've got some great comments from the live chat. If you want to be a part of the comments that are great, FTA comment for the algorithm. But Norman says, really, Frank, suddenly Halaki has the control of Maradona. Jeffrey Cooper, totally agree with the Fisherman. Amari on the right, Morrison number 10. Eric Wee says, it's okay, Frank, in regards to the no poem. Your laughter is already good enough after yesterday's sloppy play. And Paul P, my reoccurring one criticism of McKenna is the substitutions. They're obviously pre-plan, which is great when it works. But yesterday, there were changes needed at halftime and nothing. Final thought to you, Matt Blitz, as we wind up the show.
Yeah, no, I totally agreed with everything nearly everyone said. Certainly, what Mike was saying was pretty much echoing the team formation we put together on Friday, wasn't it? The kind of the 11 that we would have started with. It's a funny one, isn't it? You don't really want to go into an international break on the back of a 4-1 away defeat, and you've not played very well at all, and arguably your worst performance of the season. But you know, we are. At least it gives us time to have a little bit of a reset. Whether or not we'll see Wolfenden come back into the side, don't know. When was the last time he played? Fulham? Again, we didn't actually lose, by the way. That was the last time he certainly played. I probably think O'Shea is better than Wolfenden, in all honesty. But it was interesting that for whatever reason, Wolfie's dropped out the side, hasn't featured since. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Everton. What's everyone thinking about Everton? I mean, not so long ago, everyone was thinking that was going to be a nailed-on 3 points, but I think that'll be a very, to use the office analogy, another tough day at the office. I think
it's going to be a very tough game, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's going to be
and I think they've been in a false position anyway. Like you rightly said, Martin, they keep going 2-0 up and then blowing leads, didn't they? So it's not like they're not finding the net. They was just a bit kamikaze in defence, as were we. McKenna will have time to work with the players that are remaining whilst everyone else is on the international break. I just hope everyone comes back fit. Look, Delap's supposed to be away with England under 21s. Why is, like I've said to you before, why he's not chosen to play for the Republic of Ireland like his dad? I don't know. I think
could you play for England one day? Could you play for England one day? He's good enough. He'd be good enough.
He'd be getting 900 caps for Ireland, I reckon, in this kind of form. But yeah, we'll wait and see. But yeah, don't get too downhearted. Do you know what I mean? You know, we've been done 4-1 already this season. We got it again yesterday. I'm pretty certain it will happen at some other points throughout the season. So, you know, it wasn't a great day for the club yesterday, but who knows? We'll come back to Portman Road against Everton and see what happens. We've certainly looked, like I said earlier, with the chalk and cheese. We look like a relegation team away. We look like a solid mid-table side at home. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. And as STST says in the chat, smash that like button. We are partnered with Match Bingo. Play Match Bingo, win cash prizes, end on a high. Head over to Match Bingo, download the app, however you normally download your app, and play Match Bingo. Win cash prizes. Each time you play, you do support the crucial work of the East Anglian Air Ambulance. Over 18s only, be gamble aware. So we're done for the day. We're done for the break. This time next week, I'll be in London watching my Chicago Bears. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for my next live. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube so you never miss a live show. And if you do miss it, YouTube will notify that you've missed it and you can catch up whenever you do. But thank you for choosing Talking Town this afternoon. Thank you for choosing Talking Town whenever you've watched the show. We really appreciate it. He has been Matthew Phillips. Thank you to the contributions, the comments, and thank you to you at home. Have a great Sunday, great Monday, great Tuesday, great rest of the week, and I will speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
You make me smile when I think of you. If I get down low and I get blue, I can't get enough. You make me happy, I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine. I can't get enough. Hopeless lover. I woke up went crazy from just the thought of you. A long blonde